breaking news from Washington with Kelly Meyer, close to the White House, learning just moments ago about shots fired and two members of the National Guard having been shot. Again, very close to the White House North Gate. If you go into the White House, as Kelly and others do probably every morning on 17th and Pennsylvania there, this was just on a couple of blocks, as Kelly said moments ago, probably 2 blocks north. If you go out of the north gate of the White House, you'd see Lafayette Park and Lafayette Square, Connecticut Avenue Northwest, followed by I Street. I Street Northwest is where this shooting took place. We understand it happened about a half an hour ago, and that 2 members of the D.C. National Guard were shot. Now, we're still efforting their conditions, so we don't know much more than that. You know, we had the report that Kelly cited a moment ago that the shooter may be down. Again, still trying to confirm some of that information. We do know that the President of the United States is not in town. In fact, he's in Mar-a-Lago for the Thanksgiving holiday. He left last night. Our Libby Dean is traveling with the President, so we'll be checking in with Libby as we get our presidential reaction to this. D.C. Metro out saying that the critical incident took place, and they were on the scene of the shooting, and they asked people to avoid and look for updates. Also, ATF from Washington on the scene and assisting during this ongoing shooting investigation. So, again, 2 members of the D.C. National Guard shot there in D.C. What led up to this? What was the incident that was taking place that led to the shooting? Who shot first? We don't know any of that information right now, and we'll be getting it throughout the day. We do know the National Guard presence in Washington has been something that has been up for discussion and debate in the last few months. We're going to get General William Enyart, who's a former National Guard commander himself, up here in just a moment, NewsNation contributor, who will no doubt be able to tell us something about the deployment there and what these troops are trained to do and how they would engage in a situation if things were to escalate, as it seemingly was the case today. Where was the D.C. Metro Police? What was their involvement? See them coming up the street there in that video from a short time ago. We'll get General Enyart in a moment. I want to give Kelly a little bit of time as well to get back into position and do some more reporting on this. Brent Sadler from the Heritage Foundation, there's plenty of foreign policy, national security experience, is also with us. So, Brent, let me talk to you for a few moments first, then we'll get back to Kelly, get General Enyart in. But what would your perspective be? Just, you know, it's always tough in situations like this when we have limited information, but we do know that 2 guardsmen have been shot in D.C. this afternoon.
Well, first, a prayer to the 2 guardsmen that were injured, and hopefully they recover quickly. It's important to note that area, I'm very familiar with that entrance, those streets, having been into the National Security Council many times in the Situation Room on occasion. There's multiple layers of security and surveillance always going on. So I would expect a very rapid release of information. And I'm reminded of an incident several years ago where there was a shooting in the evening time, like on a Friday, Thursday evening. And it actually had a similar kind of like response and lockdown, and very rapidly we're able to get the details again, because it is a very heavily surveilled and there is response forces around the area. But again, too early to tell, but certainly charged political times. So I wouldn't be surprised at this stage by whatever comes out of it.
Yeah, I was referencing D.C. Metro, and we have the statement up from ATF Washington, but you also have that Secret Service, in particular uniformed Secret Service presence, right, in the blocks surrounding the White House there?
Oh, absolutely. Plainclothes and uniformed.
Right. So you wonder, and then in terms of jurisdiction, then that's the other thing we'll look at, because the Guard is there on a special assignment, but it's still a D.C. Metro jurisdiction, right? Or, I don't know what the Secret Service role would be in terms of overriding that, or how one works with the other, or how the Guard presence complicates that, or if it does.
No, absolutely. I think I'd leave that to others more qualified to comment on, but it would be interesting to see what the motive of this shooting. It'll be some time, maybe a day or 2 before we figure that out, if the shooter was actually killed or was apprehended. If the motive is specifically targeting the National Guard, or were the National Guard intervening in what was, clearly an unfolding hostile act, the individual with a gun moving in open sight.
From D.C. Metro, the scene secured. 1 suspect in custody. That's their latest update. Brent, stand by. Back to Kelly. Kelly Meyer is reporting via telephone because she's out there trying to get information on this on the scene. As I said, Kelly, a moment ago to Brent, this is about as close as you get, within about 2 blocks of the White House, and right by that gate that you no doubt go in every morning, the north side of the White House. What's the latest?
Yeah, hey there, Connell. Let me know if you could hear me okay. I have you on speaker because I'm going to read off some of the information we're getting in on my phone. So right now, I'm currently at 17th and Pennsylvania. I was walking back to the White House, and there was immediate police activity. They stopped me from going back into the White House. Police tape is up around the scene. They've really limited completely foot traffic and vehicles coming by, except for those responding. I see an EMS vehicle going by, a ton of Secret Service and DC police on the scene, a ton of red and blue flashing lights at this moment. I can't even count the amount of cars that are here. So obviously they responded really quickly. The Secret Service agents here made sure that we were okay and said they couldn't give us any more information. But what we are learning right now, I will say, is that we're hearing from Secretary Noem, the DHS secretary, saying 2 National Guardsmen were shot in Washington, D.C. She said they are working with local law enforcement to gather more information. Our Libby Dean hearing from the White House as she travels with the president, who is in Mar-a-Lago, that the White House is aware and actively monitoring this tragic situation, the White House press secretary says, and the president has been...
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.